Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula. Summer's here, and I'm in a bit of a Friday the 13th mood, so I thought, why not reflect on the series a bit and rank my top 13 best and top 13 worst Friday the 13th kills. First though, a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Amino. Amino is an app comprised of global communities dedicated to whatever you're interested in, and if there isn't a community that has what you're looking for, you can make one yourself. Amino has introduced a brand new stories feature that lets creators like me deliver content to you folks in a new way. Check out the first story I made featuring my list of top 4 summer vacation horror destinations, famous horror movie settings that make the perfect summer getaway. To check out the story, download Amino from the App Store on iOS or Google Play Store on Android. Once you got the app downloaded, look me up by searching users, type in Dr. Wolfula, and check out the story. Make sure to also follow me and subscribe to keep track of all of my future stories on Amino. I'm looking forward to it, and I think you all will too. See you all on Amino. Alrighty, back to the list. I'll be counting down both the 13 best and 13 worst Friday the 13th kills parallel with each other. Might not be the best way to do it, but it's how I'm gonna do it, okay? The scope of kills included isn't limited to just Jason's kills. Roy's and Mrs. Voorhees' kills are included as well. Any kill is on the table here. Also, I'm including Jason's defeats in the films as kills. Jason never really permanently dies in these movies, but a lot of his defeats are just too good not to include on a list like this. Besides, most Friday the 13th movies are made with the belief that they will be the last movies, so a lot of Jason's defeats were considered deaths by their creators anyway. Finally, this list is of course subjective, based on my personal opinions, so don't be a whiny baby in the comments and complain about it. Instead, feel free to share your own rankings in the comments, or even better, make your own video or blog sharing your far superior rankings. Okay, enough background, let's count down. Worst number 13, the sauna kill from part 8. The death of Julius's unnamed friend in part 8 just came off as random and lame to me. Jason picks up one hot sauna rock out of a whole bunch while this dude is lounging naked with a towel on his face, and then Jason plunges the rock in the dude's stomach. The shot afterwards shows the rock in the guy's chest too for some reason. The way Jason walks away afterwards, it feels like even he thinks he could have done better with that kill. Best number 13, Julius gets his block knocked off in part 8. Part 8's kills were often on the wackier and bloodless side, but Julius's death is still a good example of a Jason kill. Julius is a boxer, and while cornered on a rooftop, tries punching the shit out of Jason as a last resort. Jason humors the poor pugilist until Julius is out of breath. Jason responds by taking one effortless swing that launches Julius's obviously fake head square off his shoulders and into a dumpster. It's silly, but humorous and tied to the victim's character. Worst number 12, Chris asks Jason a question in part 3. After all of the build-up to part 3's climax, Jason's eventual defeat felt anticlimactic. Chris just swings an axe in Jason's head, and after a fake out, he just lies on the ground. Nothing particularly gory or memorable to this defeat. The dream sequence afterwards kinda makes up for it, but it didn't really happen. Best number 12, Trey wets the bed in Freddy vs. Jason. This is a crossover flick, but as a Friday the 13th character, I'm counting Jason's kills. While enjoying a brewski in bed post-fucking, Jason repeatedly stabs Trey here multiple times with his trusty machete. What really makes this kill comes after. Jason folds the bed in on itself, making a Trey sandwich, making me hungry. Worst number 11, Crazy Ralph's curtain call in part 2. Part 2 is a great Friday the 13th movie, but the way it handled returning characters from the first film could have been better. Case in point, Crazy Ralph, the weird hermit that constantly spoke of the doom of all who go to Camp Crystal Lake, apparently didn't take his own advice, and gets strangled by Jason with barbed wire. It's a decent filler kill, but I feel like such a memorable character deserved to go out much better. Best number 11. Jason gets exploded and Jason goes to hell. Jason isn't really defeated at the beginning on account of him having a heart snake thing, but it's still the most killed Jason's ever been. Jason preys upon some chick who supposedly decided to come all the way to Crystal Lake just to take a shower, but this turns out to be staged by the military, who go sick house on the hockey-masked fella, blowing the shit out of him. Honestly, this movie peaks a few minutes in with this shit. It's just so cool.
Worst number 10, Jason's sewer demise in part 8.
Oh boy, this is such a convoluted death for Jason. Jason has toxic sludge thrown at his head by Rennie, and he removes his hockey mask, revealing probably the most underwhelming looking unmasked Jason ever. Very alien-like. Jason is subsequently swept away by toxic sewer water, and Rennie, I guess, imagines Jason naked as a little boy, but not as the correct deformed little boy. It's just fucking dumb. Ugh.
Best number 10. Tina is a sight for sore eyes in part 5.
This is the only Roy kill in this list, but it's pretty damn good. Post-fucking, the buxom Tina is taken off guard whilst naked in the breeze, and Roy shears her eyes out. You don't get to see it because of lousy MPAA restrictions, but the sound effects make up for it, and you do get to see the gory aftermath. Really good.
Worst number 9, he's stabbing me in part 4.
Rob is set up in part 4 as a perfect nemesis for Jason, as he's trying to get even for the death of his sister, but in the end, he goes out like a total bitch, getting stabbed by Jason repeatedly in a corner, all while announcing that fact. Yeah, we know you're fucking getting stabbed, idiot.
Best number 9, the sleeping bag kill in part 7.
This kill is simple, but effective. Jason lifts a chick up in her sleeping bag and swings her into a tree, bashing her fucking head in. Originally, Jason swung her multiple times, but once is more than enough.
Worst number 8, Joey is also asked a question.
This is probably one of the worst slasher villain origins ever. Joey's a slow-witted boy at the Pinehurst Mental Institute who bothers a violently aggressive patient named Vic, who is for some reason given access to an axe, and kills the annoying simpleton in response over a candy bar. Joey turns out to be the son of this film's killer, Roy Burns, and the guy decides to wreak revenge on Pinehurst, but, doesn't kill Vic, apparently, who goes to jail. Fucking stupid.
Best number 8, Bert lends a hand in part 6.
This is another simple but good kill. The newly resurrected Jason grabs this pissed off guy named Bert's arm in the woods for his machete, but Jason doesn't know his own brand new supernatural strength, ripping off Bert's arm and launching the guy face first into a tree with a smiley face etched in. Really shows off this flick's dark humor.
Worst number 7, Shelly's screwing around in part 3.
This is just disappointing because Shelly, the reject actor, is killed for his hockey mask, but he's essentially killed off camera. The death is handled humorously as he had a bit of a boy who cried wolf complex to him, but as the guy who gave Jason his iconic mask, he really needed a much better kill in retrospect, but hey, they didn't think the hockey mask would be so big. Oh well.
Best number 7, where's the corkscrew in part 4?
Crispin Glover's death in final chapter is something else, man. The dead fuck asks for a corkscrew and definitely gets it, along with a cleaver to the fucking face. Ultimately, he gets crucified to a door. I don't know what Crispin Glover did to piss Jason off this much, damn.
Worst number 6, Donnie gets slit in the reboot.
This is Jason's other disappointing mask-related death. Donnie was a guy harvesting pot in Crystal Lake, which definitely puts him square in Jason's radar. Jason sneaks up on Donnie in a barn, and after a brief tussle and Jason losing his burlap sack, Jason just slits Donnie's throat effortlessly. It's disappointing because it was a place cluttered with stuff for killing, and this is Jason's new hockey mask origin. I guess it's a disappointing homage to Shelly's disappointing death. Originally, Donnie was supposed to be beheaded. That would have been much better.
Best number 6, cracking open a cold one in Jason X.
Jason X was a questionable choice of direction for the series, but this death does make a good case for the futuristic setting. Jason takes Adrian's head and submerges it into liquid nitrogen, freezing it and then busts her head open on a table. I really wish all the kills in this movie made such great use of the sci-fi setting, damn.
Worst number 5, Linderman dies a hero, I guess, in Freddy vs. Jason.
Linderman, the dork who felt like he belonged in an American Pie film, tries to play hero for Kid during Freddy's and Jason's throwdown and gets bitch-slapped into a wall bracket. Eventually, Linderman slowly succumbs to his wounds and dies a noble death, kinda. That should never be how a Jason victim dies.
Best number 5, Rick's eye popping in part 3.
Ooh, this one definitely makes a case for the 3D gimmick in part 3. I feel like the mostly underwhelming gimmick is put to great use when Jason lifts up Rick by the head and crushes his skull, causing the dude's eyeball to pop out in 3D. The effect looks janky, but it's so fun.
Worst number 4, Joey B takes a knee and an elbow and Jason goes to hell.
Jason, while possessing Robert, don't ask, drowns a fry cook in a deep fryer at Joey B's diner. Joey B tries to save the fry cook but gets elbowed in the face, causing her jaw to cave in on itself. The effect looks like shit. It took me a long time to register what was going on with Joey B's face. It just looks like her face became a butthole.
Best number 4, Sandra's and Jeff's double penetration in part 2.
This is an homage slash ripoff of Mario Bava's Bay of Blood, but it's still done pretty well. Jason sneaks up on Sandra and Jeff fucking and sticks a spear through them mid-coitus. Not the kind of juices these kids expected to be covered in having sex.
Worst number 3, Braithwaite Lowe gives Jason his machete in Jason X.
Braithwaite Lowe is the stupidly named dickhead head scientist that wanted to make some cash off the frozen Jason Voorhees. After Jason is thawed, Lowe ends up in the killer's sights, which leads to the professor believing that all Jason wants is his machete.
Guys! It's okay, he just wanted his machete back!
It's a little funny, but what could have been a satisfying death is off camera. Of course, Lowe's decapitated head is seen by Trevor, but this just leads to another bloodless death.
Best number 3, the 1 degree of separation of Kevin Bacon in part 1.
This kill isn't just good because a famous guy dies, this is one of the best kills in any slasher movie. While smoking a blunt, post-fucking of course, Kevin Bacon feels the blood of Ned up on the top bunk hit him and you expect a death from above, but it's a fake out. Mrs. Voorhees is under the bed, stabbing Kevin Bacon in the neck with an arrow. A pleasant surprise.
Worst number 2, the party never stops in part 7.
Jason just stabs Kate in the head with a party horn her boyfriend had. That's literally it. This might have been butchered by MPAA meddling, but as it stands, this is a shitty death.
Best number 2, Jason's not-so-final demise in part 4.
It's only right that Tom Savini's final stab at a Friday the 13th film gives Jason a fitting death. Tommy Jarvis tricks Jason into thinking he's like himself as a kid, I guess. And this gives Tommy an opportunity to smack Jason in the head with a machete. The machete kill is rendered incredibly, with Jason's head sliding down the machete, but Tommy goes into full-on overkill. A memorable death, I gotta say.
Worst number 1, Alice's splitting headache in part 2.
This is another case of not totally thinking through the death of a character from the first film. After a bunch of suspense building and Alice witnessing the severed head of Mrs. Voorhees in her fridge, Jason just pops up behind Alice and stabs her in the head with an ice pick as revenge. It just feels like a tacked-on addressing of what happens to Alice. I would think that they could have given the person that led Jason to becoming a murderer by decapitating his mother a more satisfying death than that. Jason, she killed your mother, come on!
Best number 1, Mrs. Voorhees loses her head in part 1.
Speaking of which, this is it. My favorite kill. It's just so satisfying with all the slow motion buildup. Betsy Palmer does a great job selling the kill with her expressions and Tom Savini's effects are superb. The film definitely makes what could have been just a simple beheading into a total spectacle. This may have been the final kill of the first Friday the 13th film, but it definitely kicked off the franchise to come. So that's my ranking of the top 13 best and top 13 worst Friday the 13th kills. Yeah, I know a lot of the top spots were taken by villain defeats, but it makes sense for the villains to get the best comeuppance. You want to end strong. Again, don't get angry if you disagree or say the obligatory, "Where's this kill?" Just share your own rankings, okay? Also, a reminder to download our sponsor Amino's app, either on the App Store on iOS or the Google Play Store on Android. Look me up in the app and check out my first exclusive story on it, my top 4 summer vacation horror destinations. If you like this video, like it, but if you loved it, subscribe to my channel and make sure to click the bell icon to keep track of future uploads and streams. Also, be sure to follow me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Wolfula. Finally, if you can, support me by pledging to my Patreon, where you can get previews, exclusive streams, and other goodies. I'd like to thank these kind platinum supporters of my Patreon for their help. The channel would be nothing without their support, and it's greatly appreciated. Thanks again. I've been Dr. Wolfula, signing out. See you all next time.